Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today for this Z-Man Monday, we're going to be talking about a new bait I just finally got in the mail. We've done videos on this new bait that came out this last iCast, but figured we'd talk about it a little bit more and go a little bit more in depth as far as how it's going to fit into my arsenal and things like that. Just kind of walk you through it. But so essentially what we're going to be talking about today is the SHADTRON LT. This was a bait that was introduced at iCast this year, and it's kind of a playoff. It's not kind of, it is a playoff of the Mulletron LT that Z-Man introduced the year prior. So in 2023, they introduced the Mulletron LT, which is a line through swim bait. And they actually improved upon that design with the SHADTRON, not only in the overall profile and shape of it, but also in the internal line through system that they have here. Now you've got the option to not only have the top hook, which I think is awesome. I love the top hook, but you also have the option to put a treble hook on the bottom. And they also have fast sink and slow sink versions, as well as the two different sizes that you saw with the Mulletron, 4.5 and the 6-inch version. So really excited about this swim bait. And I do need to mention, I have had it on the water. I've had the 4.5-inch version on the water. That's the only one I've had my hands on up until I got this box 2 days ago. So I haven't really been able to throw the 6-inch version of the SHADTRON, but the Mulletron, which has the same exact tail, so it has that wedge tail style, which was really popularized on the West Coast with like Huddleston swim baits and things like that. That swim bait tail is very much different than like a boot style tail. It's a little bit more subtle, but it can also handle all different types of speeds. You can slow roll it and you can really burn it, and it's not going to roll on its side. That's something was really impressed by with the Mulletron LT, and I expect that the 6-inch version of the SHADTRON will be about the same. So let's walk through some of the colors and kind of how I think about those colors. Again, you've got the slow sync version and you got a fast sync version. So different things that you're going to be doing with those. Both different versions come in all the different colors. I'm not sure if I have all the colors here. We'll kind of go through it here. All right, so we've got this one right here is a color that I really am excited about fishing for colder weather right now because there's a little bit of opaqueness to it, okay? This right here is the blueback herring. Now, it's called blueback herring, and it's definitely a good representation of a blueback herring, but it's also a great shad imitation too, and particularly during the winter. I did a recent video on how bait fish species and also bass and pretty much all the fish in a lake, they start to change color during the wintertime, during the coldest months. When the water gets cold, they start getting a little lighter overall. They're not quite as dark and vibrant. They're light colored. And so I kind of apply my observations with that to my color choices, and that's why I think that the blueback herring is going to be really good, because it's got a little bit of opaqueness, but it's not like super flashy. It's very, very realistic, and a lot of the threadfin and gizzard shad that you're going to see this time of year have that kind of opaque coloration, not like silvery like some of these other ones we've got. Now, another one that, in dirtier water, I think is going to be a big deal, and it does have that opaqueness, but it's a little bit brighter, is this sight flash, is what they call it, the sight flash. It's got a little bit of a bright white on the top. So this one right here, probably not going to be my go-to in most situations, but if I'm fishing much dirtier water and cold, dirty water, this one is probably going to be the one that I'm going to choose if I'm going to be throwing a swim bait to begin with. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good color. I'm just saying for me, swim bait fishing, a lot of times I'm looking for something that's a little bit more on the, not anatomically correct, but it's more natural. It looks just like the bait fish that you're fishing for. But this, I mean, we'll see. I'm going to experiment with it for sure. A little bit brighter. Might be a really good one to burn. Like if you're fishing around, you know, some type of cover like docks or something, and you're looking to move it really fast, and you just want that kind of like bright profile running by the fish, that one actually may be a good one. All right, so this one right here, we're getting into some real more transparent coloration. Well, actually, let's go to this one next. So this one right here is not transparent, very similar to the blueback herring version. I think this is also going to be another great one for even dirtier water. This right here is fishbone. Maybe not as dirty water as that sight flash one that we just talked about, but fishbone, very opaque. It's got more of a bone coloration to it. Great counter shading, very realistic. Looks just like a threadfin shad. So I think this is going to be a really good cold water and you know, dingy water, dingy colored water color overall. This one right here, I see myself in the clearest water and also in those warm water situations, this being a big deal. Chartreuse shad, really a very realistic color scheme overall. You know, even with that chartreuse on it, you know, very realistic. In fact, if you catch a threadfin shad, you see one like floating on the surface, they have that chartreuse coloration, just a little bit of an accent. So very realistic. I think I've got some different colors in this package. So let's open this one up too. I feel like that's a different color too. We got a bunch of different colors, I believe. Yeah, okay, so this one right here, glimmer shad, a little bit more blue. There's like some fine blue specks in there. Another very realistic one. This is actually going to be a color that I'm probably going to be using on Chickamauga a lot. Lake Chickamauga, for some reason, that blue gizzard shad, coloration works very, very well. Also green gizzard shad, but this is going to probably be one of my favorites for this lake in particular, just between us. This one right here, this is actually one that I think that they had so much great feedback from the Mulletron LT that they wanted to go ahead and create the same color in the SHADTRON. This is mossback. Very natural color. I think that it can imitate a lot of different things from bluegill to you know, obviously it's got some lines on there that look just like a mullet. So if you're fishing down south, like in Florida and some of those tidal areas for bass or even like snook or something, you can fish that. There's a lot of different bait fish that imitates very well. So mossback was the one that I really liked in the Mulletron LT lineup. And so pretty stoked to see it in this one. What else we got here? This one right here does not look like one we've talked about. And again, this is like only the second time I've seen some of these colors. You know, at ICAST was when I got to see them for the first time. Yeah, so this one right here, was really excited about this one too. So this one is called Threadfin Shad. Very realistic shades that you see on threadfin shad. Especially, this is going to be a great one for clear water. Clear to just lightly stained water. Threadfin shad is probably going to be a big go-to for me. So really, all these colors, very realistic. That's one of the great things about the SHADTRON is just how realistic it is. You've got, you know, paint schemes on top of like the actual Elastec mixture that they use, the formulation that they use for this. But let's go ahead and break one of these puppies open, and I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking as far as the, you know, the internal line through system. All right, come on, baby. Look at that thing. So let me look at this. The one thing I was wondering is there a denotation for the fast or slow sink version on the bait itself? I'm trying to find that. That was a question I had. There's a little bit of a rattle in there. You know, I don't see that. So one thing that I would suggest for you guys, and I'm not sure if I'm just not seeing it, it's something I'll have to ask them. One thing I will say to you guys is that make sure that you denote, you keep this little clamshell. This clamshell is a great little thing to keep your bait in the tackle box or in the boat. Just make sure you keep that clamshell and write on the clamshell itself which version it is. Like this one's a slow sink, so I need to find a Sharpie. There we go. Let's do slow sink. So SS. That is going to be important. You could do it right on the bait, but I think doing it on the clamshell is probably the most logical. So anyways, so this right here, you've got the line through system, comes in through the nose, and you have the choice of having the line go routed down for a belly weighted orientation with a treble hook of some sort, or you can use through the top with the top hook. I really like the top hook. So where I'm going to kind of differ on this, which one I decide to go with, is probably going to be, you know, if I'm fishing around cover, like throwing it around laydowns or throwing it through brush piles or anything like that where there's something to snag on that I'm kind of bringing it through, feathering this bait through, I'm going to be using the top hook, the single top hook. But if we're fishing more open water, maybe I'm throwing it to the sides of docks or something like that, I'm not really fishing it through cover, but I'm just fishing it around cover, that's what I'm going to be using a treble hook. Something like a size 2 or greater on this thing, I think is going to be real important, or the right size. One thing that I did struggle with, so I will admit this, with the 4.5-inch version, and I don't know if it's the same with this one. It may not be the same with any one bait. You know, it may just be something that you run into with certain baits. But it is kind of hard to figure out the route for going one way or the other. I was trying to rig it with the top hook, and the line kept on wanting to snake down this way. So it kind of preferred to follow that route towards the belly. So that's just something to think about. It may be a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to properly, rig it, route that line through to be able to make that choice. But that was a little bit hard. But I mean, the fact that you have that option is huge. As far as the weight, I'm not sure what the weight is on these, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not even sure it says. I'll just drop that one, pick up another one. Yeah, I'm not even sure what the weight is on this one. But it's going to be a bait that you can throw on a lot of different rods, a lot of different, type of tackle. It's not like one of those swim baits where you have to have like a big old broomstick or something like that. I'm really going to be throwing this on a 7.6 heavy action Versa Series rod from Fitzgerald. I think that's going to be a perfect one. This is a pretty moderately sized swim bait overall. This is going to be a good one for a lot of different situations, and not just catching, a couple big ones a day, getting that one big bite. This is going to be a swim bait that, you can go out there and catch a lot of fish, 3-pounders, 6-pounders, even like 1.5-pounders will probably eat the 6-inch version. Because I've had success with other 6-inch swim baits, on those size fish. So very open as far as the opportunities to catch fish. So like I said, it's probably a 7.5-foot heavy action rod is probably going to be a really good choice for the 6-inch version. The 4.5-inch version, you can use a 7.3 medium heavy. Not a very big, a swim bait overall. Just make sure that you're using something that's at least medium heavy, but you could go heavy too. Because that's a pretty stout hook on this thing. So, but anyways, guys, and as far as like when I'm going to choose a slow sinking version versus a fast sinking version, really there's a lot that goes into that decision. But in general, where I'm really seeing a lot of opportunity with the fast sinking version is in two different situations. number one, where I'm trying to maybe use forward-facing sonar like, active target or live scope to, bring this bait through some deeper structure, maybe a brush pile in 10 foot of water. That's a type of situation where, I'll use the fast sink because I can get it down to that depth. Getting a slow sink version down to like a brush pile in 10 foot, not going to be an easy task at all, and not something you really want to do unless you're really slow rolling the bait, and that's what the fish want. So fast sink version, deeper cover or structure that I'm fishing, and also clear water where I'm trying to move the bait a little bit faster, okay? So it's not wanting to come up to the surface. So still want to be, down a little bit in the water column, but I want to reel the bait faster. The fast sink version is probably going to be my choice for that. Now, the slow sink version is closer aligned to what we traditionally will fish up shallow around cover. So if I'm fishing around, shallow docks or shallow brush or shallow vegetation, I'm probably going to be using this slow sink version. Okay, and so it's and especially in dirtier water too. So dirty water situation, you want to slow roll that a little bit more. But of course, just having the option between the two different sink rate versions is going to give you the option to do a lot with it. So before we get going, I just want to mention the type of line I'll probably be fishing with it. So not going to go light with either of these, 4.5 inch versions or the 6. Probably, 20-pound test is probably what I'm going to throw with both of these. I might go down to 15 or 17 with the 4.5 inch version, but definitely going to stick with 20-pound test or more with the 6 inch version, unless I'm really trying to get down deep. And in that situation, I might mess around with some lighter lines. But other than that, that's kind of the breakdown for today. I was really excited to get this box in the mail. Was not expecting it because all these were back ordered. But this is going to be a swim bait that I think a lot of people are either going to keep a secret or they're going to be talking about it a lot because it works extremely well at all speeds. Like I said before, super realistic and one of the most advanced line through systems I've ever seen in a swim bait. Definitely super, super versatile. So anyways, guys, let me know in the description below which sink version and which color you think you'd like for your, local lake where you're going to be fishing it. I really want to hear your perspective on that. And if you're interested in buying any of this stuff that we talked about in this video, of course, we've got the links in the description below. And the very last thing I want to mention is if you're looking for another way to support this channel, support St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Obviously, that organization has been a big part of our lives this year, my family's life. And if you're looking for a great organization to donate to, we've got a link in the description below that is a fundraiser for the Dick Hiley Bass Classic, which is a St. Jude benefit tournament, and every dime goes to St. Jude. So use that link below to support that wonderful organization. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.